Good evening and welcome to today's live session for the subject Strategies for Sustainable Design. Let's wait for 5 more minutes, see if others join, and then we'll start the session. Till the time we are waiting for others to join, if the people present, if you have any questions or any doubts from previous sessions, you can ask. Bhagyashri is asking, could you share some ways to retain concepts in a better manner considering how the course is very vast and detailed? Any tips for exam prep? Okay, so I think the best way to prep for specifically this subject is focusing on the different types of questions which we solve. Questions probably will resemble uh, the questions that we solve here and the questions which are there in your assignment. So uh, this is like a practice session. So this will give you an idea of the topics that are kind of most important and most relevant and how questions can be framed. So according to the framing of the questions, you can select topics and you can start reviewing the whole of the study material in a way that these are the ways in which questions are framed and these are the ways in which you can answer. I know that the material is very vast and that is made in order to for the material to be able like we want the material to cater to various audiences, not only people who are in their bachelor's or master's or in their PhD, but it is also made in a way that it caters to the audience who's either they are a working professional or they are in some other field for whom this might be relevant to. So that is why it is very vast material, and specifically I share here in the live sessions, I share a lot of additional references and sources from which you can go and see other relevant information as well. But to prepare for your exam, you don't need to retain all of the additional references or sources or whatever extra I am sharing. That I'm just sharing for your knowledge, that if you want to use some of this concept maybe in your research, or maybe you want to further work as a professional on that particular field, if you want to use some of this some of what we are studying here in that way, then you can further explore in those avenues. But if you're just focusing on this as a coursework for your study and coursework, and you're just focusing on using this information to study and get a good score in exam, then focus on how the questions are formulated, what material I tell you to focus on, and how you can formulate the answer for the question of that particular subject material. I do not know if the exams for this subject are MCQ type questions or long answer type questions. So regarding that, you can directly contact the course coordinator or the course instructor from the forum, and you can ask them questions about the exam. So if in the exam you'll have multiple choice type questions, or you'll have long answer type questions, and then you can prepare accordingly. If you want, I think previously also few students have asked this, if you want you can ask the course instructor for some practice questions also, which can help you in answering help you in getting prepared for the type of questions which might come in your examinations. So if you want to practice that way, you can directly contact the course instructor as well. So I hope that was helpful. uh, Anyone else has any questions? Okay, I think it has been enough time. I think we should start our session. So, welcome to week 4. So, this is the fourth live session or fourth problem solving session, and in this week or in this session, we will focus on whatever has been covered in week 4 of lectures. So, this is what has been covered. So, you would have had 4 lectures. The first would have been on designing strategically for preventing pollution. So, this lecture would This lecture would largely focus on prevention of pollution, so air pollution, water pollution, or pollution of other resources. But to a lot of extent, we covered air pollution and pollution of the atmosphere in this chapter or in this lecture. Then you would have discussed different sources of pollution and what are the different measures that we are taking either at national level or at global level to in order to prevent certain kinds of pollution. Then next lecture would have been on low environmental impact. So in this we would have studied that whatever anthropogenic activities human do, what are the impacts on the environment because of that, how we can study both the direct and indirect impact that is caused by anthropogenic activities. So there are a lot of impacts which are directly visible, that these are the events that are occurring because of human activity or anthropogenic activity, and there are a lot of other impacts also which are not directly relatable to anthropogenic activities, but through a system of processes that occur which are not uh, readily visible to us. A lot of other environmental impact also occur because of anthropogenic activities. So in this lecture you would have studied a little bit about how human activity impacts the environment, and also how we can reduce our impact on the environment, what are the different ways that we can function sustainably, we can how we can function or consume or produce things in a way that we generate the least amount of impact possible on the environment. Next, you would have had a lecture on thinking for alternatives through systemic design. So this would have been an introduction to design thinking and systems thinking. So these are two very important concepts whenever we talk about sustainable design or sustainable strategies for design. So both system thinking and design thinking help you or enable any professional or a designer to come up with strategies or to develop strategies through which you can uh, um, produce alternative methods to already existing methods for designing certain products or certain services which might have a lower impact on the environment or might be more sustainable in nature than the existing design options available. Last would be on the consumption and consumerist lifestyle. So this would be more about what are the objects which we as a consumer use for our daily lifestyle, what is consumption, how our consumption of certain products or services affect the environment, and how we can make our lifestyle more sustainable through responsible consumption of products or change or through changing the way we consume products and services. So this is what has been covered so far in week 4 lectures, and this is what we'll discuss questions about in this week. So the first question today is which of the following gases stays in the atmosphere for hours? So is it carbon dioxide, nitric oxide, methane, or ozone? So this actually is in relation to this graph that you might have studied in your lecture. So this graph tells you about different uh, effluents or different pollutants which are there in the environment or which get released in the environment because of anthropogenic activities, and it tells you about their impact. So if they impact on a local level or a regional level, on a hemispheric level, or on a level that it affects the entire globe or the entire world. So it is basically, you can see here, it is dependent on the size of the particle or the size of the molecule which is being released. The greater the size of the molecule or uh, the less reactive it is, the greater the size of the molecule, the least amount of the time it spends in the atmosphere, because of a bigger size and being heavy, the particle settles down quicker, and the smaller the size of the particle and the less reactive they are, the more time they spend in the atmosphere, and thus due to airflow and currents and movement of the earth, they get further circulated in on a greater level, so from local to regional, then to hemispheric, and then to a global level. So this is how the particle size and to the level how much reactive the particle is, it affects whether it will stay in the atmosphere for some hours or for some days, weeks, months, or even for centuries, and if it will affect on a local level, or on a regional level, or hemispheric or global level. So you can see effluents like SO2, NO2, NO, or ammonia, or particles of size PM10, they only stay in the atmosphere from a few hours to few days, and then they either settle down or they react with uh, other elements present in the atmosphere, and then they are no longer in the atmosphere. Then other particles like the sulfate ion, the nitrate ion, the ammonia cation, or effluents of effluents which have a particulate matter size of 2.5 micrometer, they stay longer for from some days to even for some weeks. Then there is tropospheric ozone. So tropospheric ozone, it is not the same as the stratospheric ozone, which we know. So this ozone is actually harmful for the environment, and it is released because of anthropogenic activities, not as the stratospheric oxygen ozone, which is present and which protects us from the UV radiation. So this is ozone which is closer to the earth and in the atmosphere, and this is actually a pollutant. So this stays in the atmosphere for some weeks to even some months. Then there is carbon monoxide. It stays for months to even years. And then there are pollutants like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, SF6, and then these are chlorofluorocarbons, hydrochlorofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons, hydrofluorocarbons, etc. These also remain in the atmosphere for centuries. So this tells you about the different kinds of pollutants and for how long they remain in the environment. So using this, you can easily answer this question. So you just have to remember which kind of pollutants, depending on their particle size and their reactivity, how long they remain in the environment. And if you can remember how long they remain in the environment, you can relate it directly to the scale of the problem they create. If they stay only for a few days or few hours, their impact would only be local. It won't be regional or hemispheric or global, because they stay only for very few days and few hours to few days, and in that time they won't be transferred to a regional or hemispheric or a global scale. Similarly, for the pollutants which stay there for very long period like years, months, or centuries, they will have a hemispheric or a global effect because they are there in the environment for a very long time. So in the atmosphere for a very long time. So I hope this is clear. I've also shared the source of this figure. So this actually comes from Global Environmental Outlook 4. So this is a document prepared by the UNEP. So this is a very good document if you want to refer this and you want to read further. So there are the document is available in various languages. So we'll see the English one. this is the document, Global Environment Outlook, and it shares a lot of information about the different pollutants and the state of the environment and how we are doing in terms of emissions, pollution of the environment, and several other things. So actually, we have taken taken that metric from the chapter 2, atmosphere. But similarly, you can see that you get information or source material about pollution of land, water, and impacts on the biodiversity as well. So this is a report which is a document which is prepared regularly. So this is the fourth edition, and then there are later editions as well. So I have shared a link for those documents as well. So if you want to see the updated information on the pollution of environment, or how human activity or the pollutants that we produce, how they affect the environment, you can even refer the newer documents as well. So this was the first chapter. This was an overview of the emissions and everything related to the environment. It also shows by region how each region is doing in terms of different things. For example, this graph here shows uh, about mobile phones or internet usage by different regions in the world. This shows about economic instruments and applications in different sectors. And then this is the second part, which is the state and trends of the environment, and in which we uh, studied a graph from the chapter 2, which is the atmosphere. So you can see here, this only shows you the trends from 1987 to 2007, because 2007 is when, like, till when, by when this report was generated, and they had the data about the trends and the state of the environment till only that time. So you can see here we used this graph, and it tells you further information about the state of environment and different drivers. What are these are the different drivers of atmospheric issues. So we have issues in the atmosphere because of population growth, because of agriculture production, because of deforestation, industrial production, electricity production, and several other issues. And because of that, how the environment is being affected, which are the countries or regions in the world who are affecting or who are creating the most impact on the environment, and things like that. So if you want to refer this document, you can come back to this document. uh, I have also added a link to the Global Environment Outlook page. So if you go to this link, you go to their page where they publish the most recent and relevant reports on the environment. So you can see the latest one which is coming, which is not out right now, is the GEO 7, or the Global Environment Outlook 7. The one which we referred was the GEO 4. But after that, GEO 5 and 6 have been out. So if you want to read these reports, you can come to this link and uh, click onto the particular report which you want to refer to. So you can even go to the newest or the most recent report. So for example, this GEO6 was published in March 2019, or you can even go to the older reports if you want information about older status of the environment, or older information about emissions or pollutants, etc. So I hope this is helpful. Coming back, we move on to the next question. So the next question is, depletion of ozone hole is majorly caused by which type of gases? And then you have four options: chlorofluorocarbons, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and butane. So I think all of us know that the depletion of ozone layer, it's primarily caused by chlorofluorocarbons. But there are other substances as well, like halogens, carbon tetrachloride, and methyl chloroform, which also cause ozone depletion. But among these options, I think it is very clear that chlorofluorocarbons is the one which is majorly responsible for causing depletion of the ozone in the stratosphere. So these gases, the chlorofluorocarbons or other gases like the halogens, carbon tetrachloride, and methyl chloroform, these gases basically contain chlorine and bromine atoms, which when are released into the atmosphere through human activities such as industrial processes or use of refrigerants or aerosols or fire suppression system, then they go into the stratosphere, where in the stratosphere they are broken down by ultraviolet radiation, and then the chlorine and the bromine atom separates from these molecules, and then this chlorine and bromine reacts with the ozone which is present in the stratosphere. Thus, it causes the depletion of the ozone layer, which is there in the stratosphere. This why this is not ideal, or why we don't want this. This is because ozone layer acts as a layer of protection from a large amount of harmful UV radiation that is coming to the Earth's surface from the sun. And UV radiation is harmful to us because it can cause increased risk of skin cancer or cataracts, and several other adverse health effects on human and the ecosystem as well. So this is why chlorofluorocarbons are the largest depleters of ozone in our environment, and there were a lot of global uprise, and several measures were taken in order to reduce the amount of chlorofluorocarbons that we release into the environment, especially focusing on production of aerosols and refrigerants. A lot of measures were taken that chlorofluorocarbons are not being used in refrigerants and aerosols. So, can anyone of you tell me which were the most important global measures that were taken in order to stop chlorofluorocarbons being released in the environment, and to repair the ozone hole, basically? Does anyone know which important global event or global measure that was taken, or that was agreed to by nations all around the world in order to stop ozone depletion? Am I saying Kyoto Protocol? No, Kyoto Protocol is not the one. Kyoto Protocol is related to uh, uh, it is related to replace of CFC with HFC. No, that is also not correct. You are explaining one kind of measure, but I'm saying on the global level, kind of a global commitment. Which commitment was made? Kyoto Protocol is actually related to climate change, and more legal, or more legislatively binding commitment of nations towards reduction of emissions, and these are emissions related to global warming or climate change, not exactly related to ozone depletion. So that is what the Kyoto Protocol is about. Do you know the one which is related to ozone depletion? Anyone? Okay, tell you. It is the Montreal Protocol. So, Montreal Protocol is one such kind of international agreement which established the way to phase out the production of ozone depleting substances, majorly the chlorofluorocarbons. And because of this protocol, and because of the commitment of all the nations around the world, there was significant reduction in atmospheric concentration of these gases, and the ozone layer gradually recovered because of such measures. So this is actually a positive outcome or a best practice which we have to look up to, that when global measures or if we are globally committed to paying attention to stopping the release of certain kinds of polluting or harmful gases in our atmosphere, it can be done in a way that we can achieve effective and positive results for our environment. Okay, moving on to the next question. As per the data by World Wildlife Fund, by National Geographic, Our World in Data, etc. What is the amount of plastic that ends up in the ocean each year in billion pounds? So basically, this is asking about the amount of plastic that ends up in the ocean each year in billion pounds. And it says the question asks referring to different sources, for example the World Wildlife Fund, National Geographic, and Our World in Data, etc. So I gave several sources, and each source kind of measures the plastic waste output and the amount that goes into the ocean differently. So you don't get a consistent answer in billion pounds from each of the source, but you among these, the source which I think you can confidently refer and answer is this source, which is given by a study done by a group of people, and they calculate plastic waste input from land into the ocean for the year 2010. They surveyed or studied the data from 192 countries that have coasts bordering the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans, and also the Mediterranean and Black Sea. And they pronounced that a total of 2.5 billion metric tons of solid wastes is dumped into the ocean, and out of that, 275 million metric tons was plastic, and um, uh, 8 million metric tons of that is mismanaged plastic waste that has entered into the ocean in 2010. So this is the data which I found for this answer. However, the answer which this question seeks is in a billion pounds. So what the correct answer for this is 18 billion pounds, and that I think if you see from the metric which we got there, we got the metric that around 8 billion tons of 8 billion metric tons of waste is mismanaged plastic waste that goes into the ocean. And if you convert that into pounds, you can see it is coming a little like almost around 18, it's over 17.5 million pounds, or reaching somewhere around to mm, 18 billion pounds. So if you take this data about 18 million metric tons of plastic, and you convert 8 million metric tons of plastic into pounds, then you get this number, which is 18 billion pounds. So that is the closest and relevant number in terms of plastic waste that is produced that I can give you. However, I have linked all of the sources which this question talks about. So, for example, World Wildlife Fund, I have linked the source. So you can go to this page, and you can see in depth what amount of plastic and which kind of plastic goes into the ocean. Still, even these documents don't present the numbers as has been asked in the question. So I can't tell you with 100% confidence if this is the source that the question is referring to. So if you still have any doubts about the particular source that you need to refer to, please feel free to ask to the course instructor about this. So this is the information from the World Wildlife Fund, and the amount of plastic that goes into the ocean. Again, there is this research which I shared with you. So from where we got the number, this is on the plastic waste input from land into the ocean. It is a very good source because they even provide spreadsheets that contain the data that they have taken from 192 countries. Okay, so as they said that they have taken the data from 192 countries, they even share the spreadsheets of all the data that they have taken. So if you want to go and check, you can even check the data. And there is a link for the full article of the text of this as well. So you can even access the entire article in which they tell you that what kind of plastic waste is coming from which country, and it's ending up in the oceans. So if you want to refer this, please feel free to go to this link. Then there is data from the National Geographic as well. So you can see here, this is another article by the National Geographic telling about the amount of plastic that is ending up in the oceans. This has been published in 2018. So it is understandable that this study might differ from a study which has been done in 2010, but again it follows the same study which I showed you earlier by Jenna Jambeck. So I think again it follows the same numbers, so you can refer this as well. Okay, I think my screen was not shared. Okay, I'm talking about this article by the National Geographic, which again tells you about the amount of plastic that ends up in the ocean. And again, this article also refers the same study which we talked about. Coming back, you can see this source as well about from the UNESCO about ocean plastic pollution. Okay, this is produced by the UNESCO. It again tells you about the plastics and microplastics that end up in the ocean, and these are the key facts that they provide. So I've provided you various sources, and I can tell you that this is the answer that this question or this answer gives, and according to that, this is what you should refer to, because if you translate 8 million metric tons to pounds, it roughly comes around 18 billion pounds. So I hope that is helpful. We move on to the next question. So again, in this next question, I have a little doubt about the correct number which the question is asking about, because it it basically asks that what percentage of plastic is produced by China, which is only half of what the world's plastic production is, or which is carried out in Asia. So as you can see here, the rest of Asia produces 17%, and compared to that, China produces 32%. So this is not exactly half of what China produces, but half of 32% is 16%. So this is roughly what, if you vote according to the question, this is what it refers to, that roughly half of what China produces, the rest of Asia produces. So this data actually comes from PEMRG, and it was based on estimates of 390.7 million metric tons of plastic that is produced. I have linked the source from where I have referred this data. So if you want to go and check the sources, check what kind of plastic pollution they talk about, what they take into consideration, you can very well go ahead and check this data. There are even other resources related to different kind of waste and different kind of waste and other pollutants. So if you go here, you can see there is data related to chemical industry, fossil fuels and mining, fossil fuels mining, petroleum and refinery, and even for pulp and paper. So for example, this is data about the chemical industry, and I think this is not okay. So this is available only the metrics are not available as they were in terms of how much plastic waste is produced, but again you can refer to different metrics which they tell you about. Okay, coming back, so this is the most relevant data which I found about the amount of plastic waste China produces and that is produced in Asia. So that is that. If you still want more clarification on which sources to refer, please either refer the sources that have been linked in the lecture or that have been shown in the lectures, or if you still have further doubts, ask the course instructor about this. Okay, moving on to the next question, which is as per the National Geographic report in 2015, which type of plastic contributed to the least amount of plastic pollution? So this is related to this graphic, which tells you about the different kinds of plastics and the challenges associated with recycling those plastics. I have linked the sources of I have linked the source of this graphic, and I have also linked further articles if you want to read about recycling of plastic, how different kinds of plastic are recycled in different ways, and that is why it's very difficult to recycle, because if you have PET and HDPE, they both can't be recycled together. Different kinds of plastic take different amounts of energy and different processes in their recycling. Thus, even different kinds of plastic, you have to first segregate in order to recycle them purposefully, so that they then can be further reused for making certain products. So, for example, this question asks, as per this report, which type of plastic contributed to the least amount of plastic pollution? So you can see the percentage of global plastic waste is written for each kind of plastic. So you can see for PET it is 11%, for HDPE it is 14%, for PVC it is only 5%, and LDPE is 20%, polypropylene 19%, polystyrene 6%, and other plastics is 24%. So you can see it is the least amount of global plastic waste that has been produced. It is been produced by the or that is the type of plastic which has the least amount of global waste production is the PVC. So that is the answer to this question. Uh, Additionally, you can even get other questions like this one, which is also related to the same report and also talking about different kinds of plastic and their recycling. So this is another type of question which you might get. So this question asks that which item, as per this report, is the most recycled product in the world in terms of plastic. And instead of the plastic type, you get the different products that are manufactured out of those plastic types. So you get either plastic bottles, pens, plates, or baskets. So if you see this uh, diagram again, uh, beverage bottles are created using PET, and beverage bottles or plastic bottles are one of the most widely recycled product. So using this, you can again answer this question, that plastic bottles are the one which are most recycled among all of these different kinds of plastics which are available. So I hope this different types of question that you might get using this graphic, I hope this is clear, and we move on to the next question. So this next question is related to Econil yarn, which is a specifically designed yarn, and which uses recycled material from existing nylon yarn or nylon carpet, and recycles that to create a different recycled yarn, which then can again be used uh, to make carpets. So this question asks that Dassault's Air Master carpet tiles, which are made from 100% regenerated Econil yarn, are specifically designed to capture and retain fine dust, which is made out of which type of yarn. So it is basically saying that what material is the Econil yarn made out of, or what the Econil yarn is, which is being used to make this Dassault's Airmaster carpet tiles, which are a kind of carpet tiles which are used making the Econil yarn material. And you have four options: rayon, cotton, nylon, or none of these. So Deso is basically a company which manufactures carpet tiles, and this question is asking that the material that they use to manufacture their carpet tile, which is the Econel yarn, uh, basically what kind of yarn it is made out of. So you can see here, this is the concept behind which or based on which the Econel yarn work on. Okay. So, Econil yarn, it uses the nylon 6 waste from certain commercial products, and then it depolymerizes this waste to produce nylon 6 pellets from that, and then it uses those pellets to transform it into nylon 6 yarn, which is then further recommercialized, or in a way this it is recycled to then recommercialized to make further commercial products which can be sold to the consumer or to the user, and after their use they can again uh, be rescued through waste collection and then again depolymerized to make them into nylon 6 yarn or the Econil yarn which is there. So it is basically nylon 6 yarn. But why this is important? Because it is basically the way in which the Econil yarn is produced focusing on a life cycle thinking approach. So instead of creating nylon from raw materials which is obtained from our environment, it recycles the yarn which is already present, and it is actually waste, and it uses that to then depolymerize and make it into yarn which then can be used for making other products. So basically, uh, virgin yarn is produced from the raw material for the virgin yarn is we get from oil extraction and oil processing uh, industries, and what the material that we get from them is called caprolactam. Caprolactam is primarily used in manufacturing of synthetic fibers like nylon 6, and it comes from the byproducts of oil processing and oil extraction industries, and then this is used for production of nylon. So the production of caprolactam is also harmful for our environment because it produces nitrous oxide as a byproduct, and it's which is a highly potent greenhouse gas. So by getting rid of all of this process of oil extraction, oil producing, and caprolactam production, and obtaining uh, waste in the form of used uh, carpets or used uh, garments which have nylon 6 in them, and then using that, depolymerizing them, and then making fresh yarn from that, they are reducing certain kind of impact on the environment which is coming from these activities. So this is a life cycle kind of approach that instead of a straight line that there is an there is some raw material which we take from the environment, then we produce certain product from it, and then we use it, and after that it is a waste which uh, will either not get decomposed for a very long time and will stay in the environment. We are closing the loop and using that waste, which again acts as a raw material for production of the yarn. So it is kind of closing the loop following the life cycle thinking approach. So if you want to further read about this, how Econil produces their yarn, I have linked their page where they explain how they use circular economy as a key for environmental regeneration. So this is the article. about the Econilian, which talks about what is circular economy, how using economic forces only they get the raw material from the waste, and then what are the principles of circular economy which they use then to use that waste as a raw material for their industry, which produces the Econil yarn, which then is used by other industries. Like the question mentions Deso, uh, which is a industry which creates carpets and carpet tiles. So then again, that industry takes this Econil yarn and uses to create their products. So, if you want to read about this circular economy and system thinking and closed loop thinking, you can access this article and read for yourself. So, like Deso, in this question, we are talking about Deso Airmaster carpet tile, which uses Econil, which is made of nylon. So Deso is not the only company or not the only industry which uses Econil for production of carpets. There are other companies also which use Econil for their production, and even Econil is part of a chain in the circular economy which uses raw material from other companies. So Aquafil is one kind of company which does the job of recycling carpets, and by recycling carpets it separates the fiber from the carpets, the nylon fiber from the carpet, nylon 6 fibers, which is used by Econil to create this Econil yarn. So you can see here that this is the carpet recycling process, or their nylon 6 recycling process, which is followed by Aquafil, and which further feeds into Econil, which then produces uh, their yarn, which is then used by other companies to create carpets or other products. So you can see here, even Econil, it uh, uh, gets its raw material from fish nets, plastic components, textile scraps, etc. So it recycles its own scraps also, but it even obtains recycled nylon 6 from other companies like Aquafil, who are recycling material and separating the fiber to recycle the waste which are present. So if you want to further read about these companies, you want to read about uh, Econil, I have linked Econil's article. If you want to read about Aquafil, their closed loop carpet manufacturing, I have linked the article here. So this is the article about uh, the carpet manufacturing or carpet recycling journey, in which Aquafil aids Econil. So you can read about that here. And then I have linked the Deso Airmasters website as well. So this is the one which the question talks about. So Deso basically uses the Econil yarn to create a sustainable carpeting material, which also has its own qualities like air purification, etc. And again, it follows cradle to cradle, which is the circular economy or the closed life cycle thinking approach, which we are talking about. So if you want to read about that, you can go here. You can even access the Air Masters brochure, in which you can read about different kinds of products which such kind of a company who focuses on life cycle approach can create or can sell or use. So I hope that is clear. Moving ahead. So So our next question is, the European Union is targeting overall what percentage of reduction in transport sector environmental impact, including its greenhouse gas emission by the year 2050. So again, I have a little confusion in this question because it has several answers. I can tell you that the correct answer for this is 90%. The European Green Deal, which is the European Union's commitment towards uh, reduction of emissions in the environment, gradually by year 2025, then 2030, then 2050. It has taken a commitment that gradually it will reduce its greenhouse gas emissions in the environment, and according to that, uh, uh, in the mobility sector, the European Union has decided or has committed to 90% reduction of greenhouse gas emission by the year 2050. But if you see the answers, you can see 90% in a lot of options. So if you see only this number, which is 90%, you can see that 90 to 95% would be incorrect because it's over 90. 80 to 95 might be correct. 85 to 90 also might be correct, and even 80 to 90 might be correct, but 80 to 90 is further off, and the closest I think is 85 to 90, and that also is the correct answer to this question. So I think if you take that approach, this is the correct answer. However, I can tell you for sure that this is the correct number because I have referred the European Green Deal, the correct sources for this information, and I also have linked those sources. So basically, according to the European Green Deal, in the transport sector, the EU has three key objectives, which can be segregated as sustainable mobility, smart mobility, and resilient mobility. And according to uh, these three, they have again certain defined targets which they want to achieve. And according to that, they want to reduce their greenhouse emissions in the transport sector by 90% by 2050, and this is compared to what their emissions were in the year 1990. And then there are further targets like by the year 2030 they want to at least uh, uh, have 30 million zero emission cars and 80,000 zero emission lorries in operation in the EU, and by 2030 they want to have at least 100 climate neutral cities in the EU, and they want to schedule collective travel under 500 kilometer to be carbon neutral by 2030. They also have pledged to have zero emission large aircraft in market by 2035. There are also provisions for large and medium sized cities to have their own sustainable urban mobility plans by the year 2030, and even for high speed rail, it it will be double by 2030, and by 2050 rail freight traffic will be double. So because rail is a public transport system, so it reduces individual uh, emissions by a large number or a large margin. So because of that, they are trying to promote high speed rails also. Same for waterways, they are trying to increase sea shipping, which takes or which emits a lesser amount of greenhouse gas as compared to shipping which is done by roads. Similarly, there are provisions for smart mobility and resilient mobility as well. So if you want to read further about this, I have linked the original European Green Deal related. This is the European Green Deal, and this is the European Green Deal related to the transport sector. So you can see this is related to the transport sector. You can see what is there, and you can even see more information related to the European Green Deal. And this is the fact sheet related to the mobility sector. So you can download this as well and read it for your information. Okay. My screen was not visible to you. Am I correct in saying that? People present, can anyone let me know if my screen was visible or not? Now visible. Till when did you see? From when should I start it again? That the part that you missed. Okay, it was always visible. Okay. Okay, so I think you didn't miss any of it. I was just showing you these links, which is for the European Green Deal and Transport. So this is what I was talking about. So this gives you information about the European Green Deal in the context of transport sector. So there is more information here as well. And then they also have this fact sheet. And then this is the entire European Green Deal, not only related to the transport sector, but for different sectors. So, for example, this is for economy and society. This is for sustainable transport. Then you have the Green Deal for industrial revolution. So, how to change the industries. Then for the energy system. Then for people's individual lifestyle. Then regarding the ecosystem or nature or how to protect it, and then for the global climate action also. So if you want to refer these, you can go ahead and refer them, but this is the number which I have from these sources, that they aim to reduce uh, greenhouse gas emission by 90% by the year 2050. So if we go according to that, this is the closest answer which we have. So I hope that is okay. Moving on to the next question. So this is actually this is not a question which was assigned to me, but I'm just showing you because this is again kind of an example of the EU's emissions, their state of environment, and how the European Environment Agency deals with the emission, how they present their emission, how they communicate the amount of emission that EU is making. So this question is about what was the share of EU's emission in the transport sector for 2012 as per the reports of the EEA, which is the European Environment Agency. So I have linked the report here. So this is the report, and there are several technical reports for different periods, and you can get the report for each uh, year that you want. However, the question asks us about the year 2012, and you can see here that maybe the 2012 report has been archived, but you only have reports available from 2015. So that information is unfortunately not available, or uh, it might, because even this report, as you can see, this report is from 2014, and all of the other reports are after that. So the report from 2012, maybe it has been archived and I could not find it. But if you find that report, uh, you can share it with me also in the next session if you find it, or you can refer to whatever has been shared in the lectures. But if you want other information about the greenhouse gas emissions or emissions from the EU, these are the reports which you can refer to. Also, there is a source or a link to interactive graphics which can help you understand this better. So this is also an older version. You can go to the newer version as well. The older version has been archived, so I can't really access it, and the newer version shows only the information after 2014. So again, in this way also you can see uh, the transport sector. It shows 19.5% of the emission is coming from the transport sector. But again, this is data from 2014, not from 2012, as the question is asking. So this is what I can honestly show you because I don't have access to the data before that. And if in the lectures you are given the data according to the 2012, follow that. Otherwise, if the questions are asked according to the later data, feel free to use any of these resources. So I hope that is clear. Moving on to the next question, which is about design thinking. So it asks that design thinking principle as given by the Design Management Institute in 2013 does not consist of which of the following under the category of Big D. So the design thinking system, which was created by the DMI, it follows two basic elements of design thinking, or two categories of design thinking, which is the big D and the little d's. So big D's are the larger concepts or focus area on which you need to focus while creating a certain design system, or a system for designing a certain kind of product. So the three larger things or the big D's on which you need to focus are the strategy for the design of that product or service, the system that you are going to employ for designing and producing that particular service or product, and then the kind of service that you need to provide. If you are designing for a service, it is the service that you're providing, but even if you're designing a product, what additional service, maybe customer service, maybe any additional kind of service that goes along with that particular process, how you're going to design the service surrounding that product is what this refers to. Then these are the bigger things, or bigger systemic things which go into designing processes for any kind of product or service. Then there are little d's or smaller things which are more uh, sectoral, which follow only one kind of sector for designing certain kind of products or certain kind of services, which comes under the little d's, which is industrial design, focusing on designing of industrial processes for industries which are churning out certain kind of product or certain kind of services. So for production of such products and such services, what kind of system has to be designed. For that, there is industrial design. Then for graphic design, for creating graphic products. For fashion design, creating fashion products. User experience design for creating user experiences. Interior design for interiors. Experience design for experience. Architecture for buildings. Service design for creating certain services. And planning for planning larger urban areas or even cities and regions. So these are the big D's and little d's associated with the design thinking process, or the design thinking process and principles that have been created by the DMI. So you can see in the question, strategy, system and service, they are all part of the big D's. Only fashion, which is a part of the little d's, is mentioned here, which is accordingly not a part of the beauty. So I hope that is clear. Moving on to the next question. So, which of the following is not a type of system mapping? And you have four options: iceberg model, connected circle, series loop diagrams, and behavior over time graphics. So, system mapping is basically in systems thinking, uh, you have to sometimes visualize or visually represent components of a system and the relationship of different components to each other, how they are linked, how they are connected, which component affects which another component, and things like that. So system mapping basically helps you to create certain kind of diagrams and models which can help you illustrate the various elements of the system, such as if there are certain people or processes or resources and interactions in the system, it can help you visualize that. It helps you to identify different patterns, feedback loops, maybe cause and effect relationships, and the system dynamics which are present in that particular system, and which links different people, processes, resources, and interactions in the system. These maps are valuable tools for understanding the complex systems which are there, and then they can be used to analyze, design, and improve systems in various domains. So there are four kinds of techniques for mapping a system, which is the iceberg model, the connected circle, the causal loop diagram, and the behavior over time graphics. So, iceberg model is basically a visualization technique which is used to represent the system in layers. So, a system can have several layers. So, first you can identify the events that are occurring, and using that events, you can then identify in the patterns in which the events occur, and using that patterns, then you can uncover the structurally how the system is created or how the system function, and then you can create mental models to then further understand how the entire system functions. So it is basically employed to emphasize that the surface manifestation, so what you see in a system that is occurring, that is called the surface manifestation of a system or a problem or a system's behavior, are influenced by several underlying structures or feedback loops as well, which a lot of the times you can't see. So when you uncover certain kinds of events and then link them to patterns and then to structures, that kind of modeling is for a system is known as the iceberg model or iceberg modeling. Then you have connected circles. This is like the circles are the various elements, like we saw here. Elements can be either people or processes or resources, and they interact with each other. So these dots represent those elements, and the way in which these interact with each other, that you represent by connecting those dots. So this is the way these connected circles work. So it illustrates the relationship and interaction among various elements which are there in the system, and it involves drawing circles, which are, I'm saying, dots. So they are, either you can call them circles or nodes, to they represent the key components or the elements in the system. And when you connect the elements with line, that represents their relationship, or maybe flows of maybe flow of power, flow of command, flow of material, flow of resources, etc. They can be represented in the system using this method. So this is called the connected circles method of mapping a system. Then you have causal loop diagrams. So they help to visually see the feedback loops or the causal relationship system. So because of this caused this to occur, and then because of that this occurred. So sometimes it may be a feedback loop, sometimes it may be pathways, so that this occurred, because of that this another thing occurred, and because of that this another thing occurred. So the difference between connected circle and causal loop diagrams is that many times connected circles don't have directions. They might have only a relationship, and it can be directional, it cannot be directional also. But in causal loop diagrams, you'll always have a direction. There will be something which occurred previously, and after that event or thing occurred, it triggered another effect to occur. So it will be a cause and effect kind of a diagram. So these again can be represented as nodes or boxes, and they signify the variables in the system, and the arrows indicate the direction of influence. So which element is influencing which another element. So this is how the causal loop diagrams work. Then you also have behavior over time graphics. So this is not a diagram in the sense that the others were, but it is more of a graph. So using this graph, you study the behavior of one certain elements over a certain period of time. So imagine you are studying the efficiency of one element of the system over a certain period of time. So you will use behavior of that element over that certain period of time. You will use behavior over time graphs for that. So using this kind of graphs, you can see if there are delays occurring in functioning of certain kind of a system, if there are efficiency is lacking in some periods and not lacking in another periods. So these kind of trends, delays, and other dynamic behaviors can be observed using behavior over time graphics. So this is another kind of graphic or illustration system or systems mapping system which can be used to map systems. So these are the four kinds. If you come back here, you can see that instead of uh, causal loop diagrams, it is a series loop diagrams which is mentioned here. So that is the incorrect answer. uh, Apart from that, I explained to you the four other all the four uh, system mapping methods, and what they represent and how they can be used. Okay. Moving on to the next question, which is flooding as an impact falls under which type of scale as per the National Academic Press of 2012. So I again could not find this uh, uh, what this is referring to, the National Academic Press. So I searched environmental impacts in the National Academic Press, and I got several documents, but none which I found relevant to what this question is asking about. Also, I found this source which leads to a chapter about environmental impact and different kinds of impact, how their scale of impact can be addressed. However, for this question, we really don't need that. If you see, this is asking about the scale of flooding, and you have local, spatial, global, or none of the above as options. So if you see flooding has only an impact in the area where flooding occurs. If flooding is occurring in one particular village, one particular city, or at one particular place, it doesn't have an impact on the entire globe. Its effect is also uh, localized. It's is there in only the area where the flood is occurring. So I hope that way you can answer this question. I have linked both of the sources. If you want to further read, if you want to see, you can see it. But I can explain this question in the most easily in this way only, that flooding has an impact on only the localized area where the flooding occurs. So if you see it that way, the answer to this question is local, which is the correct answer to this question. So I hope that is clear. So this was the last question for today. Thank you all for attending. And if you have any further questions, please go ahead and ask. Anyone has any questions? Tanmay, Seema, Rajiv, Priyanka, I see Hita, Hema, Bhagyashree. Do you have any questions? It can be even from the previous sessions. So if you missed anything, if you saw previous sessions online, and if you still have any questions from the previous sessions or even from this session, you can ask. Okay, Hema doesn't have any question. Tanmay is asking for the last question. I also think local is more correct, but spatial may be uh, for some extent maybe. I am also unsure, that is why I linked both the sources, but it is actually asking about a particular document from 2012 and I could not find that document. So if you have it in the lectures, that is well and good, you can refer to that, but I honestly could not find the document that the question is talking about. So I'll check again in the lectures, and from the lectures, if I can tell you that what the correct answer is for sure, I can tell you that the correct answer for that is local. But I couldn't show you additional material to further clarify or justify my answer that why it's not spatial and why it's only local. So I hope that is helpful. But I'll look through the lectures again, see if anything else which is more relevant comes up, then I'll share that with you as well. Any other questions? Yes. Then may please ask your question. Which are the two sectors for higher potential energy savings in the world? Building agriculture, building transport, transport industry, building and industry. Okay. So uh, let me share with you. Okay. So this is our shared document for week 3. So if you go to this slide, you can see this report from WRI, which is accelerating building efficiency. If you just click on to this link, it will take you to this report from WRI. So in this report, I think, let me take you to the section where it explains the same. So this is I think the graphic that you're talking about. So this graphic tells you about the economic mitigation potential by each sector. So which sector has the highest potential for economic mitigation, or the lowest cost mitigation possible. So if you want to reduce emissions, there it is possible to reduce emission to using a very low cost method, or at a very low cost to your economy. There can be medium costs to your economy, so your economic productivity might suffer because of that. And then there are methods which have high costs of emission reduction, which will cost you a lot or cost your economy a lot. So in according to this, buildings is the sector which has the lowest emission, or it has the highest potential for low cost emission reduction, uh, according to this report. So I hope this is helpful. But your options are building and industry, transportation and industry, building and transportation, and building and agriculture. So according to that, if you see, building and agriculture might be the correct answer, uh, because if you see, building and agriculture, if you add their uh, low cost emission reduction potential, then they have the highest uh, low cost emission reduction potential. Okay. You are saying, I think, building and transportation. Okay, so this question is not asking about low cost, it's only asking for highest potential energy savings. Okay, so this is not asking about emission reduction, it is asking about energy saving. Okay, so this is a different question. I was this question there in week 3, or did we discuss it earlier? Okay, I think you are talking about this question. Is this question which you are talking about? Okay. So this question, if you remember, I mentioned that I don't have the exact details about sector-wise details about which sector in the world consumes which kind of energy. But the rationale that was discussed in the lectures was that uh, buildings and transportation are the industries which consume the most resources, or which account for uh, the most electricity or energy consumption for the United States. The metric was not given for the entire world, but only for United States in the lectures. But according to that, previously this question was there, which asked that which sector has the highest potential for energy conservation, and because these are the sectors which consume the most energy, the rationale was developed that these are the sectors where there is the largest scope or potential for energy conservation. So according to that, buildings and transportation are the two sectors where there is the largest potential for energy conservation. So I hope that is okay. But the answer is building and industry. Okay. I am not sure about this, because even as I mentioned that I couldn't find sector wise energy
Yeah.
usage. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I just want to tell you that after freezing the assignment answers,
Mm-hmm.
the, just a hold on. I think my sound is echo.
Yes, I know, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. So I think the answer after assignment, when the freeze, it shows the building in industry. But as of the document, I understood that building and transportation is the correct answer. But it is showing building and industry, and no wrongly deducted the assignment
Okay.
numbers.
Okay. So
So
about that,
something same
I.
issues are with some other questions also.
Okay, okay. So about that, I can only show you what is there in the assignments and the additional material I have. So for this question, I told you that I don't actually have any relevant information about sector-wise energy consumption. So if you want, you can ask the course instructor which answer or which answer to be considered, or which source they should refer to, because if I am correct, this has not been discussed even in the lectures. Even in the lectures, they refer to the US data for energy consumption, and according to that, they found that rationale that these sectors consume the most energy, so that is why they have the most energy conservation potential. So I would suggest that you ask the course instructor in the forum that what you should consider for this particular question.
Okay. And similar other questions also, I have some queries.
Okay, so you can just list your questions and you can
Yeah.
say that these are the question you have the queries about, and there is some doubt which is unclear, that which data you should refer to, and what is the correct answer. So you can ask the course instructor directly about this question.
Okay. So if my option is correct,
Mhm.
and after that, so the number will be more, change according to the
This
final.
I don't know, because I don't have any role in marking your assignments or anything. This only the course instructor can tell.
Okay. So any other two doubts can I ask now?
Yes,
Or
yes,
okay, so just give me a second. I will share the same.
yes. Targeting NZEB for existing buildings fall under which goal for non-industrial countries? Long term, short term, middle term, or none of the above? So I think we haven't solved this question in our assignments.
But
Agree?
it is already in the week three assignment.
It is in your weekly assignments, but we haven't solved this, right? Am I right about that?
Okay.
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 I think it is there in one of my previous assignments. So I will share the material for this in our shared folder, because I think this question was there in the previous assignment, but because we didn't cover this in our recent session, so I don't have it right now, but I'll share it there. So you can refer that. If you still have doubts about this, we'll discuss this question in the next session, because I don't have the material with me right now. Another doubt you had?
Okay. The third one.
Hmm. Which is a form of fenestration, allowing breeze and cutting down on intense sun while offering play of natural light. So jali, louvers, awnings, and none of the above. So which did you get? Which of these is correct?
That is Jali,
Hmm.
but I larva is like second option I have
Louvers
given.
and awnings, they both are shading devices. So
Okay.
Jali, they are shading devices. They play no role in moderation of breeze or anything. Louvers and awnings, they're largely used for shading. Maybe in some elements you can use certain kinds of awnings or louvers to direct sunlight in certain way, but they are not used for breeze or anything related to ventilation. That is Jali.
Okay.
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 Anything else?
No, that's it from my side.
Okay. Anyone else has any questions? Priyanka, you have any question?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, I was asking about the book. Any resource from where we can study?
There is in the last session also I said that whatever source which I know of, which I can refer to, I refer all of them in our lectures. I share links for everything. And additional things. I share PDFs in our shared folder. So all of the presentation and the links and additional PDFs are all there in our shared folder. And apart from that, you have the lectures. And if still you need more sources, you can ask the course instructor about it.
Ma'am, actually, recording is there. But is ma'am, we can't complete our assignments and other things from that lectures.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We are finding difficulty in that.
So if you are feeling that you don't have course material for solving certain questions, please write to the course instructor, because I only cover the questions from the previous runs. So I am not allowed to discuss the current assignments, because those assignments you are supposed to do on your own.
Okay, ma'am.
Already I have submitted one in the forum regarding handouts or presentations,
Mhm.
but I think no reply came.
Okay, so uh, I think that is the only way by which you can contact the course instructor. I'll see if anything is possible from my side. I'll try and see, and I'll let you know.
I have submitted one question in the chat box.
Mhm.
Can you?
Washing clothes in cold water falls under which category of impact as per climate mitigation? So this is from which week?
Assignment number week 2.
Week 2.
Assignment week 2.
Okay, so this again I'll have to see, because I don't have the material for this. So I'll see and let you know.
Okay.
Seema, you're asking about mental map relating to sustainability. From which week this is?
Ma'am, not from this week, any week. Actually, I have got some assignment question.
Mhm.
So I had some doubt. That's why I want to discuss with you.
Okay, so I don't have the material for this right now for the mental map, but I can get back to you next week regarding to mental mapping related to sustainability, if that's okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Anyone else has any questions? Tanmay, you are asking about Earth, using Earth's natural resources, and you are asking which it is related to. So, as you remember, we talked that using and conserving and using responsibly the natural resources of the Earth, that is largely related to the environmental sustainability. So I think the answer to that is that. If you got some other answer, you let me know.
The correct answer is environment sustainable, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I also did that,
Mhm.
but assignment answers for all of the above.
Okay, so in that way, it is basically saying that we must live on returns of Earth's natural resources rather than consuming them is under. Okay, so basically, if you remember, we discussed that environmental, social, and economic sustainability, they are not exclusive of each other. They have an intersection, and a lot of the activities or sustainability activities which we perform are related to each of these things. So maybe related to that, it is saying all of the above. But if you focus on only the natural
Natural
resources,
uh,
you can
more
say it is
productive.
related to environmental sustainability. So again, if there is this doubt, you can ask in the forum.
Okay. That's it, ma'am. Sir. It's
Okay. Okay. Okay, so thank you all for coming and presenting your doubts. I'll Seema is asking how to connect. You can connect to Professor Shiva sir on the forum. So you can send your messages and ask your questions on the forum itself. Are there still any doubts from anyone? Okay, so thank you all for attending. Uh, Seema, you're saying that you're not getting the link properly. Which link you're not getting? Online class. Okay, so this live session you're talking about, that you're not getting the link to the live session. Okay, so I'll show you again. You must be getting the link to the live session in your email. First of all, that is there. And in your Swayam portal also, you'll get the link to attend the live sessions. Okay. So if you see here, this is the portal. If you go to your courses and you go to your particular course, okay, here also there is the link to attend the problem solving session. So this link is same every time. This link doesn't change. So even if you go to the link for older week session, you'll
Ma'am,
again. Hmm?
in this, where is book reference, ma'am, you said about?
What?
मैम you said ना कि book reference भी आपने दे रखा है इसमें.
No, I haven't given any references to books. I said that there is a link from which you can access the material which I share here in the live session. So I provide links in my PPTs. So link takes you to certain resource. So if it is talking about a
Ma'am,
certain
that is
method,
recorded one, na? That you are saying about, no?
no,
Recorded
no,
videos.
no, no, it's not recorded videos. Okay, so if you see here, if you click here to the problem solving session recording and you go here, okay, so this Excel sheet opens. So these are the recordings, but there is also this shared folder. This is a drive folder. So if you go to this drive folder, these are all the documents which I share. So these are the PPTs, and PPTs have links, and then additional material, additional PDFs or anything which I share here. So it is not
Okay, ma'am.
recorded. Okay, so I think that is clear. Anything else? Okay, I think that is all for today. Uh, Thank you all for attending, and I'll see you again next week, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.